Let's do the big heads. Oops. Hey, buddy. How you doing today? I hope everything's going well for you. And if you want to chat with me, just type on the thing, and we could probably have a conversation or whatever.
Hey there, my name's Mikey Slice. Today I'm going to show you how to get more viewers on Twitch, and I'm starting right now. So you're streaming, you have one viewer, you click on the viewer list, and it's just you. It's been like this for hours. Nobody's came in, nobody's said anything in the chat. Why is this? Are you doing anything wrong? Could you be doing anything better? I'm going to tell you right now. First off, you're going to want to go to the game you're playing on Twitch and see how many people are broadcasting. If you're not in the top 20, your discoverability is not very good on Twitch to a new person trying to find a channel related to the game that they want to watch. That is a huge part to you not getting viewers. You want to find a game that has a lot of viewers, but not very many broadcasters. For me, I started streaming chess because there wasn't that many broadcasters, but there was a lot of people that watched it. This resulted in me getting partnered fairly quickly. You also have to enjoy the game that you're playing. If you're not enjoying it, people that are coming in to watch your stream are not going to enjoy watching you. What makes your stream stand out from the other people? Is it your webcam? Is it your audio? Is it how good you are at the game? Make sure that everything looks presentable to a new visitor, because, believe it or not, you have a lot of people coming in and out of your stream. It just takes a minute for the viewers to get caught up. Get yourself some nice overlays that look professional, that make you stand out like the other streamers. If you just have a webcam over your gameplay, like you're streaming from your Xbox, chances are you look like a lot of other people on Twitch that have the same viewer count as you.
Okay.
You need to be able to stand out from those people so that you win the click. While you're streaming, make sure you're always talking. Radio silence is not very good in the middle of a stream. People come in, if you don't say anything for the 15 seconds that they're there, they will immediately go to another streamer and watch their gameplay and wait for them to say something in the first 15 seconds. The more you talk, the more viewers interact with each other in the chat. Then it snowballs and more people come to watch you. Keep this in mind when you're streaming. Don't be quiet. So practice always talking on stream. On your way to work, this might sound silly, but just narrate what's going on your drive. It'll help you get more comfortable in front of the camera and allow you to talk more during your streams. That's going to do it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you give it a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button. Don't forget to hit the bell to get notified when I have new content coming out. Thanks for watching. Have a good one.
So let's see this. I'm going to listen to a podcast of Pencil to Pencil, and basically the story is like.
Welcome to the Pencil to Pencil podcast.
I mean, for the people who don't know the record, I actually work for Howard Chaykin on a lot of his stuff. So if anyone's interested in actually wanting to know what I know about him, please feel free to ask me anything, because the cast is quiet. And I could definitely use some more social time with other people. And all that stuff. I'm still just drawing my dog and getting all this other stuff in there and getting everything ready. So, yeah.
In this episode of Pencil to Pencil, we talk with artist and writer Howard Chaykin. In his close to 50-year career, starting as an assistant to Gil Kane, to his early work at DC, the first comic adaptation of Star Wars, to his turn as a paperback artist and illustrator, capping the 80s with his influential books American Flag and Black Kiss. Chaykin has had a rich and varied career, even writing episodes of The Flash TV show. Chaykin's latest work, Hey Kids Comics, is a fictionalized history of the comic book business, featuring characters closely resembling Golden Age and Silver Age artists and writers. We interviewed Chaykin from his studio in Ventura, California.
Who would have guessed? Freelancers.
Well,
How are you guys?
Good. How are you?
I'm vertical. There are days, right? Sometimes it's the best I can do.
Are you on deadline today or not on deadline today?
Actually, I'm to do a little bit of reconstruction and deconstruction and construction on the last of the third chunk of 4 Times Squared Volume 3. And what we're doing is we're playing with a stage set and building characters. We're trying to figure out which ones that we've done in preparation for are going to be used, what gags we're going to play here, that sort of thing. So he's fucking around, so I'm yours for the time being.
So what are you doing? You're repurposing the art, or?
Well, I stopped doing full pages. Here we go right into the conversation. I stopped doing pages about 15 years ago. I now do fully evolved layout. But the on-page artwork, generally speaking, is mostly large shapes, heads, and stuff like that. I do my figures and backgrounds on separate sheets and combine them in Photoshop. And my IT guy does the actual digital work, and I'm
Me. That's me.
And screaming.
So
and Laura,
So you provide the. Are you actually inking your drawings? Or
Yes. I mean, I've still got a blackened callus on my left middle finger, and we'll die with it.
As you should.
Well, thank you, but hopefully not soon. Don't push my luck or yours.
Yeah. So tell us what you're working on today again. What you were.
All right. Well, right now we're in the process of putting away the final pieces of part 3 of 4 of the third volume of Times Squared, returning to material that I did in the late 80s. Which met with universal indifference at the time, but has become sort of one of those acknowledgments of the fact that I spent my entire career overestimating my audience. And we're sort of putting it together right now. And what got all this started was a discussion of the current technology we use, which is to say, I now do my figures and backgrounds on separate sheets and combine them in Photoshop. So that's what we're doing right now. And I was explaining how this process started. I stopped doing pages about 15 years ago. If that's what you want to hear about, I'll be going into detail on that.
Right. Yeah. No.
When I did Mighty Love, which is the first book I did after I got back into comics, I hired as an assistant a guy who was newly evangelical about digital comics and digital technology. And the work was literally an argument that went on for days over how much or how little to use. And I won because I was in charge. About 2 years later, we were working on the Blade comic book, issue 4, which took place in 18 pages of the 22 took place in a department store at Christmas time, which is a flaming bitch to draw. And simply for the sake of expediency, I found 3 good photographs of the Macy's shopping floor, traced them, and added patterns to the floor and decorations to make it read as 3 different views of the same floor. And should be confirmed, this is simply for expedience's sake and time, but we discovered an unexpected, unanticipated benefit, which is that by repetition and by clever use of these shots, we enhance the verisimilitude of the material profoundly. The consistency of it really sold the idea. So I called Don, Don Cameron, who's the guy who was my assistant on Mighty Love, and said, you were right, I was wrong. And we've gone in that direction ever since. So now I do full layout, but the on-page work is, generally speaking, headshots. All the figures and backgrounds are separately and then photoshopically enhanced.
So you don't miss having pages?
No, I mean, I sacrifice it. I mean, look, I've always worked for reproduction anyway. I'm not a guy that the audience cares about in that regard. I mean, I'm not someone who, I'm the I used to say the Van Morrison of comics. I'm the Randy Newman of comics, and the audience, if the audience knows I exist at all, for work I did 45 years ago, that was shit. And for the most part, my audience is tiny, generally loyal, but easily confused.
So do you think you have two different audiences? Do you have an audience as a writer, an audience as a writer-artist?
No, I think I have an audience that read my Star Wars comic books in the 1970s and 11 other guys.
Well, that was me. I was one of the 11.
Well, that may be so, but you have to understand that I've published a manifesto recently telling people that if they're going to invite me to a convention, I will not be promoted as the guy who drew Star Wars in 1977. That is not I refuse to do this. It's also one of the reasons why I declined an invitation to come to the San Diego convention this year. Because the convention treats me as a nostalgia object. I'm not a has-been. I'm a working professional who's still doing work that informs the material. And I will not be regarded as a nostalgia item to be trucked out and compared to George Lucas or that work. I don't care about that work. It doesn't interest me in the least. It was work I did because it was a job that was offered to me when I was 25 25 years old when I did the work. I've said more than once publicly that I'd like to think I would have done a better job had I known it was going to be this big a deal. But I'm not even sure I had the skill set to do that.
So I remember talking to Bill Ray about it once, because I think he worked on it a little bit, and it was sort of like a crazy rush job, right?
Right. But that's no excuse. I mean, rush jobs are still jobs. I mean, and no one ever withdraws forgiveness quicker than a client who's asked you to do a rush job that doesn't come in as beautiful as they've envisioned it, as you well know. Yes. No good deed goes unpunished. Someone actually at a convention, I was pissing and moaning about this a couple of years back, and someone said that, in this kind of like, hey, we're all buddies and well met, fuck you guys. That, you just sound like Harrison Ford pissing and moaning. Well, you see, the difference is Harrison Ford made millions, and I made $15 a page on top of my original rate. So please, spare me your relativist nonsense.
So you didn't, you can't buy old World War II aircraft, is what you're saying.
I never even got up to go in Herb Trimpe's plane, so don't judge me here. But then again, I wouldn't have, because I'm too much of a coward.
Well, it's also hard for fans to understand that when you were actually drawing that, no one had the remotest idea of what was going to happen to the properties. And
I mean, I'm sitting at the Low East State or the Low East Capitol, I forget which, on Wednesday before the movie opens. There may be 6 other people in the theater, and I'm sitting there and this thing starts, and it's like, I felt like Ricky Ricardo with being hit hard by Lucy. You got some explaining to do here. That was when I realized this was going to be a big deal. But let's face it. I mean, I don't really care about Elvis Presley either, but he's still a big deal too. Culturally speaking, I'm not interested in this work.
So what was a big deal to you at that time?
Well, at that point, I had no skill set whatsoever, and I was learning my craft. I was getting work under false pretenses because I had the Willie Loman thing. I had a smile and a shoe shine. I don't feel like I deserved the work I got until I literally left comics for a couple of years to become a paperback man and learned a special technique. I was never going to be a really good illustrator because I just don't have the patience. I was born for comic books because comic books are a shorthand form both textually and visually. I was never going to be able to compete with Harold Foster, but I could certainly compete with Milton Caniff because I had a strong sense of graphics, which ultimately evolved into technique. But it wasn't until I did Flag that I have no idea why I first thought they had the confidence in me to pay me to do Flag. I have no clue. I credit Mike Gold with a kind of prescience, which I can't imagine where it came from. But Flag was one that taught me that if I worked really hard and did good work in the service of material that was worthy, I may be able to produce work that didn't shame me in the morning. But bear in mind, Flag was also done for a tiny company, which nobody saw, except for the next generation of comic book talent.
I'm interested in this idea of impatience. Do you think that that's also the reason why you prefer to work in comics rather than go directly to prose?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Unequivocally, yes. Yes. I mean, I write reasonably well. I mean, I became a writer in comics simply out of self-defense because I feel that most of the credentials of the people who were writing comics when I first came into the business they were failed as comic book artists, with a couple of specific exceptions. But the truth is that I'm a good, strong visual narrative guy, and I like the idea of telling a story that is both visual and textual. I'm constantly reminded by the fact that the comic book business has been taken over by an alpha writer business, which is completely absurd. But it also points at the diminished capacity for comprehension of the audience, with all due respect. And an audience.
What due respect is that? I want to have that defined.
Well, I feel that, anytime you have an audience of adult men and women who are reading children's books, which is to say with Harry Potter and Mockingjay, you're asking an audience that's fairly fatuous and is easily manipulated by people who are selling a brand as opposed to a talent. I think that's the business and that's the marketplace in which we work today, I believe.
And that I guess also relates to what you were talking about, nostalgia, because nostalgia is a big driving factor in pretty much most entertainment.
But it's not a real nostalgia. It's a skewed, screened nostalgia. It's more based on screened memory than actual nostalgia and actual experiential nostalgia. It's an idea for, it's this whole contemporaneous chauvinism thing with this an entire generation of people who feel that they can rewrite history by pointing out its flaws. And come on, I'm old. I'm older than both of you, I believe. And the truth is, I've lived through situations which are appalling and offensive. And I know full well that the people who are going to be born today, or making these denunciatory screeds, are going to find themselves being regarded as scum in 25, 30 years by a next generation. So batten down your hatches, bud.
So when you were, I'm interested in your journey from being, I guess now, were you working with Gil Kane as an assistant before you started the Star Wars stuff? Or like when you were doing...
Oh, absolutely. I worked for Gil when I was 18 and 19. I was a kid. I did the Star Wars stuff when I was 25. I actually did no hands-on work with Gil. I was Gil's gopher. The only hands-on work I did between now and then, in that era, I ghosted his stuff, and I only discuss ghost work I've done for those who were dead. I ghosted for Gray Morrow. I'm serious. All these motherfuckers coming out and talking about work they're doing for people. You never only talk about the dead. And I ghosted for Woody, and I ghosted a bunch of stuff for Gray Morrow. Some his Lampoon stuff, some newspaper strip stuff. The only hands-on work I ever did with Gil was taking over the Sawhawk strip while he was sick.
So now ghosting, what would that involve? What was your, because one of the things I think that the current generation of artists miss is what you experienced, and I experienced a little bit, which is that it was a profession that was handed down by you or me or somebody, working with an assistant, with a more experienced artist, and then you sort of, you built your skill set by starting with like real basic things. So
absolutely. I penciled for Gray, and I was terrible. I was awful. But I learned how to draw for someone else, and you work on it, and I owe my entire career to Gil Kane, Gray Morrow, Wallace Wood, Neil Adams, and Joe Orlando. Those five guys, I stand on those shoulders. The first four taught me how to do what I do, and Orlando taught me how not to get nailed by Carmine Infantino in the hallways of DC Comics. Because Carmine hated Gil so much, and I was associated with Gil so profoundly that I was in his gun sights from word one.
So they had like a long-standing feud, I think?
Oh, fuck, yeah, they hated from the moment they met at 14. Remember, these guys they knew each other since they were children.
So he knew Gil Kane when he was still Eli Katz.
Oh, God, yes. And Al Stack. All those other pseudonyms,
Hey, how are you doing today?
I think they met either at Jack's studio. I guess that way. Because Gil always talked about George Tuska saving his ass, and that Tuska was his role model for style and sport. But yeah, they hated each other from word one. And I was, like I said, so deeply associated with Gil as to be, a villain in Carmine's eyes.
Yet he...
comics have always been personal vendetta. It's everybody hates everybody. Come on. It's a small trough and a lot of pigs.
Well, that's just art in general. It's the same way with paintings.
Right, exactly.
Every ism is broken up by the people that are in that current ism who start to hate each other.
Exactly. We all made a pledge that we would never turn into our parents' generation, and within 5 years we were all hating each other's guts again. It was great. And of course, now that we're old, we've all forgiven each other. That's the deal. Now it's like, a couple of years back, I found myself at a table with two guys of my generation and a young guy. And the young guy is the guy who set up the meal. And the young guy ended up getting cut out completely of the conversation because the three of us each found out we all had anecdotes about a third party of our generation we all loathed that the others who hadn't heard. So it was just like shit talk about an absent colleague. It was the best.
So it was like your Dan Flagg story?
Not quite. I wouldn't go quite that far. But I'm I know a lot of guys in the business. And there are people who hate me, and many of them have every good reason to, because it's my fault. I'm willing to eat that, So I'm good.
So when you were working, I'm also interested in, like, when you're working for, like, say somebody like Gil, who definitely had Kane had definitely had like a system, and then you work with somebody like Gray Morrow, who has a very different system. Did that do you take pieces from that with you to help, like, sort of? At what point were you becoming conscious of? Because I remember reading your work. Like I said, when I was younger, the Monarch, the Stalker, and the stuff you were doing as you were going on, and I was aware of the fact that it seemed like your work was changing a little bit with each new thing that you were doing.
Well, I had no idea what I was doing. I really didn't. I mean, it's one of the ways that my career echoes Gil's, in that, you look at Gil's work from the mid 40s till he comes back from the service, and then you get to the early 50s, you begin to see, he starts his career imitating Jack, and then he goes on, he starts imitating Toth and Dan Barry, and it isn't until he comes under Julie Schwartz's wing in the mid 50s that he begins to develop a personality. He's still using elements of Alex and Dan. The Kirby stuff has vanished, but and then he comes under the sway of that douchebag Bern Hogarth, who intimidates him, but at least inculcates him in an understanding of the body, and develops the flayed figure that was the defining element of the superhero stuff.
Right.
And I'm of the belief that Gil was the most successful interpreter.
Let's talk to another artist and see
Ça éventuellement, mais bon là je l'ai fait à l'arrache vraiment. Enfin, bref. J'ai mis 3 heures à faire un peu de lumière. On en était à nos manches. À nos moutons.
Aber mach mal, dann würde ich jetzt buchen.
Ja. Jetzt haben wir den Leuten schon die Dönerrad versprochen.
I don't know what any of these things are, so...
Und sollte das nicht klappen mit dem kompletten Fahrbrot, brauchen wir noch Alternativen. Und sollte das nicht klappen mit dem kompletten Fahrbrot, brauchen wir noch Alternativen.
Yeah, oh well. Anyway, so... Yeah, oh well. Anyway, so... Yeah, I'm watching myself. Just saying, like, what can I do to actually make my view things a little bit better and everything, but I don't really have an answer for that. I wish I did. Make my life easier. And, you know, I guess it would be kind of fun to actually have someone to talk to and not, like, not just, like, sit around and just, like, get my illustration out. And, just, like, you know, just get, like, my name out one way or another. Let's see. So this one's going to be an interesting one. The cow is like pretty much like not matching with this, so I'm going to have to kind of like go and be a little bit creative and figure out a way to make the cow fit in here. I wonder if I could actually just cut corners and just like a little bit. I mean, I could probably make a white background and then just like paste it all in. I just have to find where these areas go. Oop. Full opacity. Because what I'm doing right now is I'm actually making the white. I'm making my white back so that I could just like fill in the color and just like get a better idea of what I need. And to do that, I need to get the lines all layered out. Maybe get like okay, let's see. Right here. I mean, you know when you have like exposed work, and especially if you put in a little bit of effort. Let's see. Okay. Oop. Now we'll get that set up and just kind of like work. And yeah. So right now, what I'm going to do is just going to wait until somebody pops up and maybe just give them a pleasant little hello and blah 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 blah. And a blah 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 blah. Blah 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 blah. Blah 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 blah. This is what happens when you get too lonely in the world today. Let's see. I'm going to go back to the radio casts.
Of the Kirby ethos, post Kirby at Marvel, he really did catch that tone.
You think more than Buscema?
Yes, I do. I think Buscema is a guy. I mean, I know I'm in a minority here. I'm sorry. Please stop. No pillorying. I think Buscema is grossly overrated. I truly do. He's a phenomenal draftsman, but for me, not an interesting comic book artist.
Because you think that he was not intellectual enough about his approach?
No, I liked the work. I didn't love the work. Okay. And I think his resentment of having to do the work came through in a lot of places for me.
Well, I think
I know, and I know this is also heretical. I'm also not a fan of Gene Colan's work. Okay. As a kid, I hated Sikowski. I love Sikowski. As a kid, I hated Heck. I love Heck. Okay.
What is it about? In fact, I was going to say I'm actually with you on Buscema, so we're in a very small minority there. But what is it about Colan that you like the least?
There's no sense of horizon balance. Nobody in any of his images seemed to be standing on the same ground plane. Everything seemed to be floating. There seemed to be no real weight to the characters. The characters lacked. What I respond to in Gil's stuff is the balletic nature of the action. Okay, I mean, years ago, I was sitting with my then wife in the front row mezz, as we always do at theater, watching Bob Fosse's attempt to slap Michael Bennett across the face with a show called Dancing, which was his reinvention of other people's choreography. And they did Aaron Copland's Rodeo, and reinventing what's her name, Agnes Mills' choreography. And I turned to my wife and I said, "Holy fuck, that's Gil Kane's action figures." And then she said, "No shit, that's exactly right." I mean, you look at Mikhail Baryshnikov moves like Gil Kane's figures move. Okay. The great flaw of Gil's work is the inability to slow down enough to move beyond the generic. There's generic guns, generic suits, generic shoes, cars, houses, hats, everything. There was never any capacity to introduce the specific into the world.
I think there are a lot of guys from that generation actually suffered from that.
Well, I remember trying to teach him, and it was just, I mean, Don Cameron trying Don to teach Gil how to use photographs, and it was a comedy of errors. It was very sad for both of them, I think.
Yeah, I think part of that, I think Buscema suffered from too, because you get used to being able to produce that amount of work, then you need to produce that amount of work because your lifestyle says I need to produce this amount of work. And then when you
it also even goes beyond lifestyle, because when the money increases, they're still incapable of getting past the 6-page a day thing. You know, I mean, I think to a certain extent, I think Gil was much more what I once dismissed Kirby as a 6-page a day hack, and I think that to a greater extent, a lot of the guys who came along afterward were that guy. Okay, and I think hack is such an easy pejorative to throw around, particularly from an audience that doesn't accept the fact that the work is also a job.
Right.
I have a fairly neutral reaction to praise and blame from the comic book enthusiast crowd, simply by dint of the fact that most of them don't acknowledge that, you gotta eat. This is your job.
You got a family. You got to put your kids through college. Whatever. Right. Yeah. And if
I just published a long piece on Medium, and I talked about the fact that I'm not interested in superhero comic books and have lost my interest in them, but I will occasionally do them because, frankly, not every job is going to change the world, and sometimes you got to pay the mortgage and keep the lights on.
Were you never interested in superheroes?
Say again?
Were you never interested in superheroes?
Oh, I loved them. Are you kidding? I mean, please. I was such a Marvel fanatic. I discovered the Marvel stuff when I came back from summer camp in September of '63, and it was like, oh my God, this is the best. I mean, it was like fuck Saul on the road to Damascus. This was a transformative moment, for Christ's sake, and I loved it. I just adored it. But my skill set wasn't up to it, and by the time it did catch up, I wasn't interested in it anymore. A lot of it is that I fell under the sway of people who were both doing it professionally but dismissing it privately. And ultimately, it got in the way of my ability to do it. I also find the ethos of the material really off-putting. I have an innate aversion. I mean, and again, it was a paradigm shift that took place in my mid-20s, and I kept looking for something else to do. I mean, they just announced today the Superman Year One book by Frank and John. And wow, what a surprise that is! Who would have guessed? Who would have seen that come along? I'd rather read Tom DeHaven's book. You know what I'm saying? And I love Tom DeHaven's book. It made me cry.
Well, I mean, I think in the case of the corporate comics, they're sort of framed in now by what the limited audience left is going to accept.
Right, and let's face it, what you're dealing with is the ultimate triumph of Chuck Jones in that the modern American comic book, which is to say the modern American mainstream superhero comic book. The template of that is Roadrunner and Coyote. There's no stepping around that fact.
Right.
Hold on a second. You want to be on your own for a bit, or you want to work a little bit? What are you going to do? You have nothing you can do on your own? Hold on a second, will you guys? Sorry.
Sure.
Give me this now, and I'll get back to you, okay?
That's me.
I just want to make sure Calvin wasn't spinning his wheels waiting for me. And back to you. Sorry.
That's me. That's me.
Well, I mean, that's part of the. I think the crisis in the industry now is because.
A second, sorry. That was my editor calling to hit me to the fact that I already knew that James Gunn had been rehired by Disney.
Oh, really?
Okay.
You didn't hear about this?
No, not yet. I was working all morning, so I wasn't paying attention.
Yeah, I mean, just before you guys called, I checked Deadline. That was when I found out about Frank and John, and also the fact that they rehired James Gunn to do Guardians 3.
Well, they must have not been able to figure out a way to run it without him. So.
I think that might be so, and also maybe they're even maybe in private at least willing to be embarrassed that they were mob smacked. But I'm not optimistic.
Right. But I mean, I think it's ironic because you're mentioning like these tentpole things like Frank and John doing the Superman thing, but
again shocked.
Right. but at the same time, there's probably I think a wider variety of material being produced, even though it doesn't make people a lot of money, than let's say the mid '70s or the mid '80s.
I happen to agree. And a lot of it is my own bitterness and disappointment. I mean, the franchise of the second volume of Hey Kids Comics is about the loop created by Harvey Kurtzman in 1950 and my generation in 1970. Okay? That many members of my generation earnestly believed that we were in the cusp of recreating a new version of EC. And discovered that what we were really doing was a holding action until Frank Miller and Bill Sienkiewicz could come in and do superhero comics in the way they wanted to. And that's really the dynamic of that early part of the 70s.
And is that because what happened with the market? You went from being, you went to the direct market from being on the newsstand?
Well, you have to bear in mind that in those days, none of us, the only guys who were prepared to do superhero comics in my generation were Rich Buckler and then Starlin. And Stan didn't want to work with any of us anyway, because he liked guys that were his own, contemporaries. And it wasn't until Roy came in that, Roy wanted to work with younger people. And he tried to bring in Wrightson, and Wrightson wouldn't come over, so he brought in Brunner. Okay? From Roy's perspective, Brunner was a perfectly good substitute for Bernie. And what we didn't realize was that, and we could not see doing superhero comics. It felt as if we would be bent to the table of doing the material in that way. But when Frank and Bill come in, Stan has sort of released the reins so profoundly that superhero comics would then be bent to their will as opposed to the other way around. And that's really what happened. a new way of doing stuff that had been entertaining us since I was 12.
So when you were doing things like Dominic Fortune and you were doing Stars My Destination,
Right.
this was sort of like the in between, I guess.
I couldn't visualize myself doing the Fantastic Four or Iron Man or any of those things. I didn't have that skill set. And the Stars My Destination I was seduced by Byron Price, the currently dead Byron Price. He'll be back. To do an adaptation of a novel that I truly loved, and then had him do the adaptation in which his literal mindedness completely missed a good 25% of Alfred Bester's irony and narrative. So, I mean, I spent the 70s trying to find something else to do for a living using the skill set that I had. And that's why I'm incredibly grateful for First Comics. They gave me the opportunity to do Flag. And Flag, I mean, there are people who've been simply, dismissing me as a guy of the 80s. At least I had a fucking decade, pal. I mean, really. I did Flag, Times Squared, Black Hawk, The Shadow, and then ended with Black Kiss, the first successful filthy comic book. Which people seem to be, always obsessed with the fucking part, but it's also pretty funny and ugly.
No.
It's an articulation of my paranoia about living in California. I cannot convey that enough.
But when you were doing you were doing that, you were trying to, I guess, grow a new set of legs. Living in
exactly.
New York.
Wow, I'm going to use that one.
Okay. So like living in New York, and I've always been interested about this, you guys in that era, you, Wrightson, Kaluta, all those guys, because you didn't go to like the Art Students League, you didn't study under Jack Ferragamo, you weren't aware of anything like that?
No. I can't speak for those guys, but I was too high. I'm serious. I mean, I didn't breathe a sober breath for my entire experience living in New York City until I got sober in January of 1992. And one of the things about living in New York in those circumstances is very simply that you can be pretty high all the time. And I was. Okay? I was a daily pothead. And, I was on a permanent buzz for most of those years. So, but I had a great work ethic. But I had a phenomenal work ethic on top of that.
Right. Well, I was actually very similar when I was in my early 20s. I used to wake and bake, and I'd be high all day, and I had a job.
Right.
Everything else, I just like being high. But I stopped in my. I think by the time I was 23, I stopped.
You're a much better person than I am.
But I'm interested that the fact that you desired to, like become a paperback artist, but you didn't think like, well, maybe I should study with one of these guys who did that, like you studied with Gil Kane.
Never crossed my mind. I mean, I don't know. Never crossed my mind at all.
Because those guys are actually...
Bear in mind, I mean, I spent more time teaching on the college level than I ever did attending. I mean, my only college experience, I studied to be a radio broadcaster.
So you went to the CBS School of Radio?
No, I went to Columbia College in Chicago back when it was a school that literally turned out radio people. Now, of course, it's a movie and television school.
Right.
In those days, it was a single building on the Lakeshore Drive next to the Time Life Book Depository. And I flunked out very quickly and spent the next couple of years hitchhiking across the country, back and forth.
So you never had, because you were roommates with Wrightson for a while, right?
No, we lived in the same building. We never roommated.
So like you guys, when you're all together smoking your pot, taking the pot.
Well, I didn't get high with anybody else. I'm not naming names of people I got fucked up with. That's nobody's business. But
come on.
I enjoyed my private time as well.
But I'm just sort of curious that a lot of you, that generation of people were, you guys were influenced by the Silver Age and Golden Age.
Right.
But you were also influenced, seeing illustration, which was not something that was common as much with the previous generation of guys.
Well, but also the previous generation has to be understood as most of those guys had utter contempt for the work they were doing, and assumed that the work they were doing in comics was a transition to what was coming next. Only to discover that the work they'd been doing, that they had such contempt for, was the work they should have been paying attention to in the first place.
Do you think they were aiming to get into newspaper strips because of the greater money?
I think that's a lot of it. You know, I mean, anecdotally, when I worked for Gil, Gil would every so often go off on an hour-long rant and screed. Okay, if you met Gil Kane at any given time, you know full well he was a man who liked talking to a man who liked talking and being listened to. And one day he literally took me aside. I think I was the only Jewish assistant he'd ever had. And he made it a point to tell me all the anti-Semites. It all turned out later on that these are the same guys that he had cocktails with every Friday night, but that's another story. And he gave me a list of all the guys I should be aware of as I go out into the world, okay? And again, the demarcation that existed between the comic book world and the newspaper world was deep and profound. But most of those guys thought they had other things to do, that better work was waiting for them. And none of them really were able to get out of it. I mean, look at Ross Andrew and Mike Esposito, okay, who tried desperately to do something else in the early 50s. Kubert and Moorer with their stuff, with the St. John stuff. Everybody wanted something else. Kanigher's contempt for comics and for his colleagues was just so endemic in the office. You know, just the utter complete contempt. I'll never forget, I was at Marvel and Mike Esposito was in the bullpen, and I never heard anybody use the word comics fan and have so many syllables of utter dripping contempt come out of those two words. Just utter contempt for the field, for the material. And they were doing it for a living, you know?
Yeah, it's interesting. I know that Toth often wanted to do something else, but his heart was always in comics. I think, again, it was
Toth is also mentally ill. I mean, he was completely out of his fucking mind.
Well, I'm well aware of that. I had a pretty long relationship with him.
Yeah, I mean, really. I mean, he is. I regard him as the single greatest comic book artist who ever lived, and someone I would do everything I possibly could to avoid.
Well, I think that through a mutual acquaintance who was visiting him at the hospital at the end, apparently he was diagnosed as being bipolar right at the end, and they were giving him medication. He was doing a lot better, but by then, of course, he didn't have much time left.
Well, you read the review I wrote for Bruce and what's his name's book, right? For Los Angeles Review of Books.
For About Toth?
Yeah, I did. I reviewed the first volume of the book that Mulaney and Cantwell did.
Well, I don't know if I've seen that. Was it reprinted?
Send me an email. I'll send you my draft.
Okay.
Okay.
Let me get your email then. Well, we can do it after we finish, I guess.
Right.
So I actually reading about Toth and actually having somebody close to me who was bipolar, it became very apparent to me that he was probably always an undiagnosed bipolar.
Oh, I totally agree.
You know, because he was so mercurial that things are either really good or immediately really bad.
Well, and he so hated doctors. I mean, he wouldn't even go to the dentist. This guy was just so set in his ways.
So was that, were those guys like that also who were bitter or twisted or whatever, kind of like a life lesson as well?
Well, I think so. I mean, we all listened to these guys, and it was just like, I had a chat with Greg Goldstein a couple months ago before he left IDW, and he had read the first couple of issues of Hey Kids, and I said that the real separating factor between the generation before mine and mine was our lack of bitterness. He said, of course, those guys went in expecting things to get better, and you guys went in knowing with your eyes wide open, with no expectations, and that's really true. We all did what we did because we really wanted to do what we did.
Right.
You know, I mean,
you love me.
I fucking love comic books so much.
Right.
I mean, these days I don't particularly enjoy reading comic books, but the process of making comic books is a great joy.
Now, you don't enjoy reading because you don't find things that are interesting?
No, I mean, the last book that I read with any regularity, commercial book, was Scalped.
Yeah, right.
By Jason and Guerra.
Yeah, I loved it. I interviewed.
And I had a lot of issues with the artwork. I found it was weirdly colored.
Yes, the coloring, I think, hurt it. I think the coloring hurt.
Right. And I rather like what Brubaker and Phillips do with their crime books.
Right. Yeah.
You know. But I mean, I get up. I mean, I'm up at 5:30 in the morning or so every day. And I'm at the gym. I have breakfast with colleagues who hold the work that I do in contempt. It's incredibly humbling and very human-making. They pay you for this shit? Come on, really? You know, that kind of thing. Not a joke, quite serious. You know, I mean, it is staying right-sized under this onslaught is one of the great joys of living in a small town where no one has any idea who I am or what I do. And then I get down to it. And, you know, today, my day will consist of working with Calvin, getting this page organized, and setting up what I call the sticks and circles of the next chunk of pages, which is to say, getting a sense of size relationships to what's happening in each panel. You know, I got my layout, I got my thumbnail, and I got my pages full size.
So you work on it as sort of like, almost like beats then, like visual beats?
Well, what I tend to think of it as it's solving visual narrative problems. That's what it's about.
What would you say?
Because I try not to have to write stuff to explain what the pictures mean.
And this process sounds like you're actually building sets almost.
To a great extent, that's true. I mean, I've always felt my work is far more influenced by musical theater, for example, than it is by movies or television or wrestling, as the case may be. You know, I'm a serious theater enthusiast, and a lot of what I get out of live theater finds itself in comics. I look at Robert Fawcett's work, for example. I think Fawcett's work owes an enormous debt to stage work. Fawcett's best stuff doesn't have a cinematic quality to it, but it has a really stage-bound quality to it. There's a moment, there's almost that sense of an entrance on stage. You know, you look at the Holmes pieces, the Hercule Poirot pieces, and just generally speaking, the work really has a stagey, contrived in the best sense of the word. And boy, I am digressing like crazy here. Sorry about that.
No, I mean,
I'm interested in all those technical things. It reminds me, I always noticed a similarity with Mignola's approach in Fawcett, because they always have the camera set dead level.
Oh, hold on a second.
Right.
Sorry, let me pause this for a sec
which
so I
makes
can actually
everything as clear as it can be.
chat with people.
That's something I never noticed. It's quite true.
There you go. Hey, how are you doing today? Are you enjoying? I mean, you like what you're saying? So this is one part of it, and the other half is I'm doing a whole like a series of these guys, and just like there'll be a life drawing it'll be like a life drawing type thing and everything like that. I'm still working on it and just like kind of getting it down. I have Rocco, Heifer, Spunky, the big heads. I'll do Filbert, and yeah, I just need to figure out all that other stuff. I think that's right. Yeah.
activated with all the beautiful black patterns and things like that. It sort of pushes you that way, as opposed to someone who's always spinning the camera and doing up and down shots.
Right.
Create much.
Well, I tend to like the idea of very stagey work, because I like the idea of applying the technique of opera and musical theater to comics, without being overt about it, just characters and gesture. I mean, one of my favorite artists that nobody gives a shit about is Rick Burchett. Burchett is one of the best drawers of acting I've ever seen, but he lacks the audience's, check marks against all the things they would do if only they could kind of thing. It frustrates me enormously when I see someone like that getting nowhere near the attention and props he deserves.
Well, sometimes it also has to do with whether you did a 47-issue run on, major, Marvel or DC character. Because, look at Toth. He did amazing jobs on really stupid stories, like What is a Snurl or stuff like that.
Oh, no. When you read the Los Angeles Review of Books thing, you'll see the comparison I make between Alex Toth and Phil Spector. And I stand by that comparison.
And what is that? What is that comparison?
That both men were able to take utter treacle and horse shit and turn it into art. As I say in the review, when I'm anywhere, I hear that first drum roll of the Duran Run, I get goose pimples and I'm there. I'm 16 years old again, and I'm obsessed with that Puerto Rican girl in the front of the class. Met her on a Monday and my heart stood still. Did you run, did you run? Oh my God, he kills me. And I feel the same way about all those dreadful 7-page horror stories that he did for Standard. They're just awful, and they're gorgeous. They're phenomenal. But they are in the service of textual dreck.
Yeah, most of his stuff was. I remember talking to him about that, and he, we already mentioned his problems, but he would just send me these 20-page letters just trashing all this stuff about how terrible it was.
But he also had no sense of story himself. That's what's so freakish.
Well, that's what's interesting.
His whole concept of his narrative appreciation seemed to have atrophied in 1948.
It's very strange.
Imagine what he could have done if he could have gotten past his own prejudices and worked with a guy like Alan Moore.
Well, he also, I know he did, even though he worked in film, he didn't really understand film language either.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Trying to discuss that with him would be, as you know, as I was about to say, he would just dump on all this work he had done, and I would try and get him to talk about the idea that, do you think that that's because you were trying to apply too much sophistication in all these graphic means, and variety of shots, so forth, to this dreckish material? Then he would defend it. That was the cycle I always got into.
No, you cannot. It is a war you cannot win, let alone wage.
It was hopeless.
Ultimately, absolutely.
So, going back to what we have digressed.
Before we digress the hell out of the conversation.
When were you becoming conscious of pulling in like those outside sources of illustration? I know you also were a big collector of, cutting up old magazine. You build a nice. At what point along the way did you go, well, this is where I need to go. This is where I'm feeling I need to go, or where I want to go?
Coincidentally, in like 81 and 82, when first began to start making offers, I found myself up against it in terms of debt because of the work for Byron Price. Because the only person who made any money for Byron Price was Byron Price. And illustration was dying rapidly for me because I was never going to get good enough to really generate a career. And cover rates were being cut left and right as publishers went down. And all this coincided with the arrival of this offer from First. And they made me this offer. The backing of the offer was amazing. It would enable me to get out from under debt and just save my life. And that was when I realized that I had to literally put my money where my mouth was. And I sat down and did 6 months of developmental education, study, organization, design, concept. Just busted my ass. And the result of that was Flag. Look at the Flag stuff now, and it seems uneven and places inept, but it still holds together in terms of what I wanted to do, which was to do something that was funny, clever, dark, sexy, and different. You know, just different. I mean, the irony was that Jeanette Kahn insisted in that she was that I should have done it for DC Comics, and there's no possible way I could have done Flag for DC Comics at that point. I needed a company with no baggage and no history whatsoever. You know what I'm saying?
So, because you think that they would have put too much pressure on it for it to be a certain level of success?
And I would have joined in that pressure because I would have been remembering what had existed before I got there.
And you would have surely had to team up with Batman.
You're going to get me started on Batman, aren't you? I mean, I did this thing at Cal Arts a couple of weeks back with Bill Sienkiewicz, and it's on DVD now. I think they've already released it on YouTube. Where I basically said that, as I said more than once, that Batman was a rich guy who had a bed when he was 8. You know, and this is the result of this. Come on, I mean, it's a 15-year-old boy's idea of a tough guy, like Raymond Chandler said about Alan Ladd. But again, Superman Year One, yay!
Well, you know, anything that being told in an to me, I don't try to take Superman and make it any more than something that's entertaining. You know, it's like
Well, have you read the Havens book?
No.
You should read the Havens book. It's called It's Superman. It's beautiful. It came out in the winter of Christmas of 2005. I'm sitting on a flight flying home, and I started crying over Philadelphia, and I didn't stop until I got to Denver. Okay? It's heartbreaking. It's exactly what it is about Superman that made you want to be a comic book artist in the first place. Trust me on that. It will fuck you up. It's staggering. And he wrote 2 books about Superman. One, Our Hero, Why Superman Matters, which is a series of critical essays. But It's Superman is a novel, as if John Dos Passos and John Steinbeck got together and were hired by Donenfeld and Leibowitz to write a novel based on the character they just stolen. Okay?
Wow,
it's really good.
That's quite a pitch.
It's pretty fabulous. I mean, I didn't know Tom at the time. I don't know him. We'd never met. We'd spoken. But I got a hold of him and told him that if anybody ever would have come around and tried to do an adaptation of this, I wanted to at least have a shot. It's that beautiful.
Was that done through DC? I'm just curious.
It was done for Warner Books. I have no idea whether DC had anything to say with it one way or the other. I don't know.
Okay. All right.
So getting back to you felt like you had to step up a level, obviously, when you were doing Flag.
Right.
And you did 6 months of self-study and development.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
And how did you go, kind of specifically, how did you go about it? What did you decide, well, what do I need to, because you have the visual element, obviously, but then you also have the story structure element.
The influence of the story comes out of Terry and the Pirates, Gunsmoke, and Maverick. Okay? Those 3 elements define the material. Visually, I was looking a lot at Richard Stallworman at the Pushpin Studio stuff, and also just magazine illustration of the period. And then, in terms of narrative, I wanted to do something that was sexy and reflected my then interest in fashion, because I was really a clothes horse at that point. And I just threw everything I could into the book.
And so, were you doing, I guess, what now they call style boards? Were you making your own sort of files? I mean, this is all post.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Computer and everything.
No question about it. You bet. You know, I mean, when I was working on the second issue of Flag, and I was doing the splash page of the second issue. The second, where it was the piano player, and as I'm doing this, I felt as if I decoded Robert Fawcett's design system to so profound a degree that I whooped. Simonson was on the other side of the room. He was working on Thor at the time. And he came over and we sat and looked at me, and I pulled up some Fawcett stuff. And I said, look at this. You can see, you know, there's an encoded element to organization of space going on here. And it was just like, oh, I was also available to be taught. You know, I was 32 years old, okay? And, you know, when you're that young, and that hungry, it's almost impossible, unless you're standing against your own wave, not to learn. I mean, my job now is to be 68 and still be willing to absorb and suck up.
So that's what I call an aha moment, where suddenly
Right, exactly.
you the light goes on, and it gives you the 1,000-yard perception that you
exactly.
So you can now take.
I mean, look, I'm in my office right now. Okay, I'm looking up, and on the wall is the original of Fawcett's art director piece. Okay. You know, where the off-camera guy is holding up a piece of Wapman board showing him.
Foreground, yep.
Okay, and it's the graphic elements of this piece is all triangular. There's so many fucking triangles happening in this picture, including the organization of the three pivot points of the shot, the drawing table, the art director, and the guy. And it's just, you know, but there is this constant sense of uncoding and decoding. I'm walking into the other room. I've got a Cosson piece, a Gary Kelly piece, a Russell Patterson, you know, another Fawcett, a Herbert Paus, a Jimmy Williamson, you know. And they're all, I mean, it's just that, the joy of breaking out and applying those sort of elements to comic book pages. You know, for me, it was a link. It was me separating myself entirely from what I've been doing for years in terms of following in Gil Kane's footsteps. I developed, I mean, I reached a point in my career, visually, where I no longer had to do action-packed stuff, where the pictures themselves were jittery enough to support narrative that didn't involve fighting, you know, which is the scenes in comic books, you know, that sort of stuff.
So
it was a real change for me.
Right. Now, and then going forward from that, then you started writing more stuff for other people, right?
Yeah, and I wrote for them the same way I wrote for myself, but I never felt I got what I need. The only time I've ever felt really successful there was in Twilight.
Yeah.
And in the Batman thing I did with Chiarello.
Yeah, well,
you know, and again, the great thing about Twilight is that John Byrne hated it almost as much as he hated Flag.
Why did he hate it?
Because he felt I had raped those characters. I think that's a paraphrase on your quote. I haven't apologized, so we're still boiling here. You know?
Oh, I see. You guys haven't had your apologetic old man lunch at Denny's yet?
Not yet, no. Now that's a visual. Those are video rights. I want to get a piece of. Yes, indeed. I think not.
Yeah. Well, I own several pages from Twilight. I mean, Garcia Lopez makes anything look great.
Oh, look, if comics was a meritocracy, Garcia Lopez would be identified as the Christ. He is the best. And he's a perfect example of a guy who comes to superhero comics by way of romance comics. Think about that.
Well, I think that even though, I hope you're not offended by this, but I think your work has a deep sense of romance in it.
Oh, I couldn't agree more. Yeah, absolutely. Look, I mentioned Ross Andrew earlier, okay? Andrew was a guy who I was always aware of. I kind of liked. I loved his Wonder Woman stuff with Kanigher because it was just fucking nuts. But when he delivered those pencils for the Superman Spider-Man book, and we saw those pencils, the influence that he's had on Garcia Lopez cannot be understated.
Yes, I actually talked.
You know, Garcia Lopez's work is so much prettier for sure, but the use of deep space, it's just unmistakable.
Yes, very much. I actually talked to him about that once.
JGL or Ross?
No, to Garcia Lopez.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it was very apparent. I think the thing about Ross Andrew was his work didn't quite have that sexy turn to it, I think.
Right.
You know, like his work was very dynamic, great storytelling, like you said, deep space, but his work had that, it was a certain slight ugliness to it, I guess is the only way.
Oh, no, it was unpretty, and it wasn't helped by the fact that Esposito didn't make it any prettier.
Right, yeah. Where I think like somebody like Romita would ink it, and then he would make it, attractive. Everybody would be Even Giacoya would do that.
Yes, yes.
You know?
And it was Gil who ultimately was able to point out to me the high value of Ross's work. Gil was a huge fan.
Yeah, I talked to him on the phone once. It was a pretty weird phone conversation because then he ended up starting.
He was a very curious guy.
Yeah, he started talking about
a very curious guy.
He started talking about what was it, like baboon clitorises or something? I mean, it's like not the kind of conversation I thought I was going to have with Ross Andrew.
Oh, I'm touching myself inappropriately. Man. That's fantastic.
It was a very, very odd.
No, he was a very curious guy. He was very odd. Hold on a second. What's that?
You're back.
Oh, okay. I had no idea what BRB stood for, but thank you so much. I'm kind of tingly now. I'll see you in a bit. It's okay.
I also
back
think,
to you.
I also think.
You know, you call an hour later, you get what you pay for here, kids. You know.
I also think that one of the differences in comics with that generation is a lot of those guys worked in isolation, and because it was not glamorous the way illustration could be, and it was not like working in animation where you worked in an environment with other people. It kind of twisted some guys up a little bit.
I think that's probably true.
You know, so you go on, you start trying to get into the paperbacks. I remember buying Sword of Heaven, Flower of Hell.
Well, I did a lot of, I did Empire, I did The Stars My Destination, I did Swords of Heaven, I did what I could. I was trying to find other stuff to do. And,
did you have an agent for illustration? Did you get an agent for illustration?
No. I tried, but I wasn't good enough, really. You know, and there was no real, my work didn't have any real value outside of the world. One of the things that happens in contemporary comic books is that many of the guys who are sort of involved in comics in the academic universe tend to relate to comics from an academic perspective as it compares to other forms, as opposed to comparing it unto itself. The way a guy like Chris Ware identifies himself as marginal when he's far from marginal. But the work I did really wasn't good enough for either side in the long run, and ultimately I returned to black and white and was grateful for it.
So you weren't, say, like a guy like Corbin who sort of cut out his.
Oh, Corbin is a god. Corbin is a master. Corbin, Sienkiewicz, to a certain extent Dave McKean, who gets a lot from Bill. Those guys were far superior than anything I could do. It really wasn't until I evolved textual voice that I felt I was able to compete. I said this to Bill in public last week, 2 weeks ago. I said that, I'll never draw as well as he does, but I thank the gods he'll never write as well as I do. Serious. That's the bottom line.
So now, because I'm always interested in this not draw well enough thing. Is it because you just don't want to suffer as much? Or...
I think a lot of it is patience. Hold on a second. Get the fuck away from me. I'll kill you where you stand. Go. Yeah, yo, move. Get out of here. My dogs. I have many.
I'm hoping that was your dog.
I have many dogs.
That's a mailman. That's how you talk to your mailman.
I have swarms of dogs. And my dogs like to pit stop in my office and just to see, well, is there anything I can eat here? What do you got?
You mean food. Howard means food.
Well,
I've
always said the looks of love that my dogs give me is actually more a matter of figuring out where they're going to start eating when they find me dead. That's what it's. Marie Provost invitational, so to speak.
So at a certain point, did you feel like, well, I'm satisfied enough with the drawing to produce the type of work that I want?
Yes.
But
I think that's an embarrassingly fair estimation. Yes.
Because I'm see, that's one of the things that I'm always fascinated about, because it's like some people continue to always push the rock up the hill. Some people, like Garcia Lopez, are a great husband of their own ability and they don't burn themselves out. There's other people who burn themselves out and become like machines, and then they're never ever able to recover from that. And I think with in the case of somebody like Buscema, there might have been some bitterness about that.
I think that's possibly true. Yeah. Okay.
You know, so and you know, doing 2 comic strips, I'm very aware of. You can get pretty close to burning yourself out producing that work.
Well, I mean, I'm kind of stunned at your ability to maintain. I mean, that's a serious grind.
Yeah. Well, I don't plan.
And I'm not saying this with even the slightest bit of irony. It's pretty admirable.
Well, I thank you. You know, but you know, if one paid more, I'd only do one.
You know, again, it goes right back to that idea that we have to remind the audience that, hey, it's my job too. You know, it's not just a calling, and it is a calling by any means, but it is also my job.
Right. So now,
You know,
at the stage that you are, you don't have to grind. You can be a little bit choosier. You can do.
well, that's not true. I mean, should I choose to work, I have to. You know, I mean, I've aged out of Marvel and I've aged out of DC. I can't get work at either company.
Do you think you've truly aged out, like they wouldn't?
Oh, absolutely, no question about it. I'm an old fat white guy. What do you think?
So you couldn't get work as a writer because you're not in on the hive mind kind of a thing?
Look, I mean, take a look at the work I've done for Marvel and DC in the past 5 years. I've done a couple of covers, mostly on variants, out of friendship. I did a 10-page story for War is Hell. I wrote Rough and Ready, and I've done some other stuff. But for the most part, no one wants me up there, and I'm okay with that. I really am. I don't lose my shit over this. You know, I mean, I'm grateful to have Image as a client to work at. You know, see where I belong that ladder. You know, the experience I had in 2017 with the Divided States of Hysteria left me very shaken by my relationship with the audience.
You want to elaborate on that a little? You want to elaborate on that a little bit? So because of
I published a book which was basically there were 2 images. The cover of the first issue was a woman wearing a niqab made of an American flag, and the intended 4th issue featured a shot of a Middle Eastern man being lynched, having been lynched, and the audience took it upon themselves to not read the book but make assumptions based on imagery to impose their own set of belief systems on it, to the point where a number of my colleagues, who are dead to me now, joined this pillory. And, of course, none of them are brave enough to come actually say anything to my face, but they were willing to hide behind the megaphone of their keyboards.
Right.
And the material, I mean, I think it damaged me personally and professionally. It was very insulting and very upsetting, and there were people who actually said I don't have to read it to know it's bad. And that is a demonstration of a kind of a crypto-fascism that they cannot accommodate. People were assuming that I was a member of this Comicsgate crowd, which I found shocking.
Really? People actually thought that you were a member?
Oh, yeah, I mean, no, let's face it, and with all due respect, an enormous part of the audience is willfully ignorant and also guilelessly self-regarding.
Well,
Unfortunately, it's not limited to comics anymore.
I know, but we are talking about comic books here. I tend to keep things specific. Yeah, they really did. I mean, I was called upon to denounce members of the Comicsgate crew, whom were my Facebook friends, okay? I told the person who was asking me to denounce them to give me a day to take a look at the situation. And I ended up unfriending the people who were part of the Comicsgate, but also the one who asked me to denounce as well, because I was being asked to join in a pillory to take the side of people who have been shitting all over my parade for a good year. And that seemed counterintuitive.
I guess that whole thing, I mean, I'm aware of the whole Comicsgate thing. I was unaware, I guess I was not aware of the people being against you for,
Yeah.
You know.
Look, I mean, I was referred to in the past year by someone on the left as and this is a great quote, as a demon in a human skin suit. and by someone on the right as a neutered butler of the social justice warrior movement.
Wow.
So I'm catching it from both. I'm catching it from both
I
sides.
think you should make a book like that. With those 2 characters.
The fact of the matter is, I mean, I have no idea what the audience wants other than to have its own sensibilities flattered and pandered to. You know, it is a credulous audience. And, you know, since I never became a superhero guy, I can't really. I'm not of any real value to Marvel or DC except in a, oh look, we're still using an occasional old white guy, and I'm not that interesting, and nor interested in the work they're asking me to do. When I did the last thing I did for Marvel Anybody, I did the Avengers 59, and most of my editor's notes were, use their powers more, and that's almost the antithesis of what I care about.
So you could have written pages 12 to 15. They use their powers more.
Exactly. But
You could have got a fact check, Howard. You could have got a fact check.
And again, I don't want it. I don't really care about guys coming out of their eyes. Yeah, please. I just don't care.
Well,
and my lack of caring makes me no friends.
Well,
if you will.
I think you do better doing your own stuff today.
Me too.
I'm artist.
I'm real proud of the work I've been doing for the past couple of years, but finding an audience for it has been an uphill slide.
Well, that's the quandary, right? Because there's so much.
Right, exactly.
There's so much entertainment. People are spoiled. People are choking on entertainment. But I can tell you that, I teach a class every week of teenagers, and they are not reading any Marvel and DC comics.
What are they reading?
They're reading web comics. They're reading things online. They're looking at YouTube. They're not paying for content. They're trying to get their content for free, and they don't give a shit about any Marvel or DC or Image or anybody else. They're looking at that stuff that's not even on their radar.
Interesting.
It's not even on their radar. They don't even care about that. I mentioned none of them know who Kelvin and Hobbes are. None of them knew who Popeye was. So you could just go down a litany of characters that would, I've been teaching since early 2000s. So the kids that I started teaching then knew all those characters.
Right.
These kids don't even know the old Batman TV show they don't know any of that stuff. It's not even on their horizon. But they still consume comics. They consume web comics, they consume humor comics, they consume tons of manga because there's a variety of stories. And they like the Marvel DC stuff as far as movies, but they're not going to be like I was when I was 13. I would buy an issue by you or Wrightson or Adams, and then you want to try to find the next issue. They're not hunter-collectors at all like that.
Interesting.
So, I
have no faith whatsoever, so it's a good thing I'm old.
So, but I think that what you're doing is doing your own stuff is better in the long run than doing stuff for the corporate people.
Oh, I couldn't agree more. I've got, like I say, I'm finishing up the third and final volume of Times Squared. I've got the breakdown for the second volume of Hey Kids on the boards. I'm leaving the country on Wednesday for a show in Amsterdam, in Holland, and whereas my colleagues all seem to sneak over the rooms and do their commissions at night, I don't do that. But I've got a couple of days free, and I've got long flights. So my goal is to do a little bit of breakdown on the pages because I have a very general idea of how the second volume works out. And my next job is to figure out who I'm conflating with, where I'm going to create composite characters that won't get me killed or arrested. That is my goal. Because the real problem with this one is there are a lot of people who I'll be telling stories about in this that are still alive. And so I've got to be a little more subtle, with that. So we'll see.
Now, do you draw or sketch for pleasure?
No.
Did you ever draw and sketch for pleasure?
Yes.
So at what point did it become not pleasurable?
I don't know. It just stopped. I sit down at my desk and I start drawing. As I sit, I'm sitting with my feet up on my drawing table right now, looking at pages 37 through 48 of Times Squared. And when I hang up with you, I'll start indicating generalized line of action shapes on them. And that'll be it. Tomorrow is Saturday, so I probably won't work. I'll take my wife to a movie. Monday and Tuesday Monday I'll be doing rough pencil, and Tuesday I'll be tight pencil. And I don't work on time anymore. I work on mission. What must be done today must be done today.
Oh.
That sort of thing.
Okay. So you don't, like I know Kane used to do those practice sheets, when he would...
No, not interested.
No? But you still love looking at art. You still love creating.
Oh, I do. Absolutely.
But you find it has to be tailored more for a purpose?
Yes. I mean, I am... Yes, exactly. It's my job.
I always...
Bear in mind, I've been doing this professionally for going on 48 years.
Not long enough.
You could have fooled me there a day. My editor calling to give me shit. Can you believe this?
Really?
Editors.
Really?
That I pay to edit my stuff. That I pay to edit my work.
So you pay someone to have a second set of eyes?
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, my I guess tying into my point before the phone call was, at what point did you decide, or how did you go about getting your, going and meeting Gil or Kane? At what point did you go from being a fan to saying, I wanted to do this, this guy will hire me to get him coffee?
Back in the day, in New York City, there was an entire network of guys who knew everybody, all of us kids, okay? There was a rumor mill, and there was a drum that never went through it. And the rumor mill was that Gil Kane's assistant had dropped dead in the middle of the night of an undiagnosed heart ailment at 21. A guy named Tim Battersby, who had it in him to be a major player, who died at 21 in his sleep. And I called up. At the time, I was house sitting for a friend. I was about 2 blocks away from Gil was living at the time. I called him up in that callous teenage way of, I hear your assistant died, you need somebody. And I went to see him. He hired me on the spot, and even though he told me my work was shit and utterly worthless. And I worked for him for 6 months, and we maintained a relationship. And I learned more in that 6 months than I did doing anything else for anyone else in my entire career.
Okay, so here's a funny thing that you should know about at least this part. If you're actually listening to this, or if anyone's actually watching this in a later video, I was also given the same speech by my boss as well. Like, when I was just showing him my work, like, I didn't really have any, like, a portfolio setup or anything like that. He said the exact same shit to me, where all of a sudden it's like, where I'll show him what I have, and I just, like, gather up a portfolio at last minute, and then he'll tell me, my work sucks. It's not that good. But I do need someone to do my work. And I don't exactly remember how it goes from one thing to another, but it ended up to, I'm going to be working for him. He literally actually guided me into my car, closed the door for me, and said, I'll need you to come in here tomorrow, but your work is not that good. We'll see what you can do, and we'll try to work with you the best I can. And then I was like thinking to myself, like, after I've been shitstormed about, like, how shitty my work was, I literally thought to myself, did I get myself a job? And just, like, it was the weirdest thing I ever had. And nobody would expect it. I mean, I never really expected that I would actually be working for the guy. And I'm now working for him for about 5 to 7 years. Has it been 5 to 7 years? Oh, man. Yeah, about 5 to 7 years when I was working on that stuff. I'm listening to this and I realized I got the same speech from from someone else doing the same thing. So yeah, that's what I found that was pretty funny.
Did you?
I hear his voice. I hear his voice when I mean, the one thing I can honestly say is that what separates me from the guys who were my mentors is none of them could write worth a shit, and I'm a pretty good writer.
And were you aware of husbanding your career in a way that some of those guys didn't, so they didn't end up being?
No plan. I had no plans. My life was a series of fortunate accidents or unfortunate accidents, depending on the situation. I met Gil when I was 13 years old as a kid. He didn't remember me. At a comic book store, I was selling comics I'd stolen from a friend, and he was looking for Will James books because he was so interested in learning how to enhance his own drawing of horses. And I had worshipped him as a god. I mean, I was a huge fan of the Julie Schwartz Silver Age stuff. And there was we were partisans of either Gil Kane or Carmine Infantino. And the only thing that united us was how much we hated Mike Sikowski's work. And we just hated Sikowski's work so much. And Gil was just this divine creature, and he looked like he was supposed to. He was, the shock of white hair, these black eyebrows, and he was just, so supercilious and so condescending. He was fantastic. But the great thing was that
Hey guys, sorry about that. I'm just having a private call and just like getting that out of the way. You know, the one thing I wish I was actually better at. I wish I was actually better at like socializing and all that stuff, and actually like, chatting up with people. That's just one of the things I've never been good at. I don't know if I'm like either socially awkward or anything like that. It would be nice to actually like meet up and meet some new friends or whatever, and just like kind of chat or anything. I wonder. Let's see. Let's see. Blah, 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 blah. Maybe I could probably just change it to just chatting. Maybe I'll get more viewers that way. Content must follow our guidelines. Okay. Here's where that'll actually change up anything. Oh, it's still in the category of art. Oh well. Hey guys, how are you doing today? Hope you're enjoying the stream and everything, and just chat with me and see what's going on. And yeah, I'm currently right now just doing a Rocco's Modern Life like setup, and you could just like check out any cool stuff that's also on there and see what's going on. And yeah. Other than that, I also been listening to this the last minute of this radio podcast that I've been listening to. I have 18 minutes left, so So I'm going to let people listen to that, and you could just like chat with me on there and see what's going on.
He still had a primitive sensibility that would come out. I mean, I thought the Groth book that Gary published last year, Sparring with Gil Kane, was an absolute treasure. It really was. It was fantastic. And I thought the piece that they did, the transcription of the panel discussion at the Friars with him and Eisner and Stan was staggering in its revelatory nature. You know, I mean, one of the best afternoons I've ever spent was watching Cover Girl with Gil Kane as he annotated the entire movie. I learned more about the depiction of physical movement in space from listening to him talk about Gene Kelly and Rita Hayworth than I could have in any other context.
So
I owe him a debt which will never be payable.
So now, you have assistants, and you've had assistants that take it over the years. Do you?
Oh, yes. I've been working with assistants since the
That's
mid-80s.
me.
Right. So
That's
do you,
me.
Mid-70s. 70s, actually, when I was working for Byron, I had guys doing flats. Sure.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So do you try to do the same thing? Do you try to pass on the?
Absolutely. I mean, when I hire someone, my promise is I will get you to do better work for me than you do for yourself. Because you are naturally a lazy motherfucker and not working hard enough, but you come work for me, I will bust your ass. And that's the deal. Look, consider the people who've worked for me. You know, Bat Lash, Joe Jusko, Peter Cooper, Dean Haspiel, okay? These are all graduates of the Howard Chaykin School of Fine Comic Art.
Do they have a little? Do they have a little?
No, but no, I thought about doing, but Woody was still alive, and I wouldn't want to rain on his parade.
You know, and what did you do for Wood?
I ghosted scripts. I drew a comic strip. I also did some other ghost work for him. You know, Woody was a cautionary tale. You know, by the time I met him, he was well on his way to suicide. You know.
He was
a miserably unhappy man whose expectations were obviously unfulfilled by comic books.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's sort of scary when you reach that age of people that you admired or your heroes and they pass away and you go, oh, I'm at that stage, you know. And in the case of a guy like Wood, when he was like 51, he looked like he was 90. I mean,
right. Well, as I've said more than once in print, you know, I wanted to go up to be Gil Kane, but I was afraid I'd end up like Wallace Wood. You know? So, you know, he was, on the other hand, you know, working for Woody introduced me to Jack Abel, who was one of the best people I've ever known in my life. Jack was renting studio space. He was sharing a studio with Sid Shores. And within a day or two,
hey, thank you for following me and all that other stuff.
And he spent days just destroying Sid. He was just truly awful to him. And he wrangled me in, and the two of us would just literally beat the shit out of Sid daily. And Sid was only aware of it half of the time. You know, I mean, just a consummate dumbass. And Jack just took me in and turned me into the douchebag I am today. I mean, it was fantastic.
So just lots of practical jokes, huh?
Oh, no, just horrible, insulting. Jack was... Terry Austin created the official Jack Abel shit list and hung it on the wall at Continuity. And my name was the only one that was inked. I was position number 1, and I was inked in. Everything else was pencil. I was so grateful, you know. Jack was the greatest. He was just so wonderful. He really was. Just the best.
And what did you do with Neil at Continuity?
I actually didn't do anything in Continuity. I did storyboard pencils for him. He showed me how to do that. And in those days, since there was no money in comics, if you could develop the storyboard style, you could make some serious dough. I mean, I survived frequently for doing a week or two a month working at JWT or B&B, doing teeny frames, you know, for $1.50 a day, about $150 a day. You know, and that was good dough, you know. And, you know, doing 2x3 frames.
So how are you doing today?
I did a lot of work for Ford. I had a couple of accounts of my own, in which I did freelance. It was good, because comics paid shit.
What was the standard page rate in like 1970?
Well, I got $23 a page to pencil Pamphlet of the Great House.
Wow. Well, of course, $23 is not what $23 is today.
Right. I mean, I got 45 to pencil the Star Wars stuff page. And with the reprints, with the arrangements, I made an additional $15 a page.
Do you still get reprint money today from that?
No, I have in a couple of pieces, but had the book come out a year later when the royalties.
So how you been doing today, Deadpool?
Made between $1 million and $1.5 million.
Enjoying it?
Holy.
Enjoying some cool stuff lately?
At that point, looked at $1 million and said, "Hey, this I could kill myself in a weekend. This would be good."
So Providence stepped in.
Exactly. So I mean, it leaves me bitter but not dead. So it works. It's a nice balance, if you will.
Do you still have any of the art for it, or did you get rid of it all?
No, I couldn't wait to get rid of that shit.
And what about a lot of your older art? Do you still have it, or do you?
No, I don't. Once it's printed, I don't care about it at all.
Really? So you don't have any? You still don't have any old Monarch Star Stalker pages?
No, long gone.
Really?
I only own a couple of pieces of my own, and they're all in my storage unit because my wife thinks they're good, and she doesn't know what she's talking about.
Nice.
No, my walls are decked out with. I have a Von Schmidt over my fireplace in my studio. I have a Ralph Palin Coleman above my computer. I have that faucet piece over there. A Harry Beckoff in the corridor. And the guest room has a Nancy Stahl and David Grove.
Yeah, I decided. Yeah, I just wanted to get more people and see if people could actually.
Oh yeah, I don't give a shit about my own.
And see, just wanted see
It's
people actually showing off my stuff. And well, yeah. Hey, thanks actually coming up to my thing. I was always been a little quiet on these little things. I don't know how to really do the whole streaming setup, and I don't know how to do the whole streaming setup. And I'm trying to figure that out as I go along and everything. And yeah, well, hey, if you like my work, you could always donate and just be happy with me there. Thank you. Here, this is what I'm actually working on right now. I'm making a. This is just part of it, and I'll show the rest on here if I could get that fucking mouse. There you go. So, I'm kind of doing a self-portrait of everyone in doing a Rocco's Modern Life type thing. So all the characters are more live action, and with their cartoony background. And so after that, I'm going to try to I want to make the whole background really all set up, and then I'll be basically printing these things for conventions and all this stuff, and just sell them out there. And yeah, that's pretty much what I always do, just for it's kind of my theme that I always go with, and just make a whole bunch of new different type weird setups and everything and all that stuff. If you want to check out my other work, just go to CalvinKnightComics.com and just check out. You can check out all my other gear and just all the other things that I've been kind of mixing in there too. Actually, let's add a little bit of realism to this. Maybe kind of a dissolve. Now, actually, maybe if you guys know anything about this character, is Filbert a turtle or a tortoise? I never actually really thought about that until now. I mean, I'm using reference for tortoise because tortoise have a whole bunch of little tortoise actually walk around, actually can walk on water and land and everything. I mean, no, tortoise can walk on land. And they're desert tortoises. But if oh, sorry. But my question is he a turtle or a tortoise? I mean, I know you're just looking at the reference and everything like that, so I'm actually curious of how accurate that idea is. But yeah. Anyway, but hey, thanks for checking out my stream and everything. I wish I had more ways of actually communicating better with people. I mean, I've been having only like few of these bad days where just like I had a few of these bad days where I'm just like really bad at socializing, and I feel like I sometimes creep out people just by accident or just unintentionally. Let's see. And yeah. And I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm just like feeling a little bit sorry for myself because of whatever. I just haven't heard from my friends in a while, and just like wondering what the hell's going on. This is not a cry for help or anything like that. This is just me like venting myself out and just like, seeing what's everyone else been doing. Let's see. So yeah, if you like what you see, donate and I'm free for today, but everyone else isn't. Yeah, I think it's kind of like that's what it's been hitting me at the most, and just like uh, you know, one of the things I have to learn to deal with it about being an artist, and also like trying to get myself majorly better and all that stuff. But you know, we just have to keep working until we get it right. So what have you been doing? What have you been up to, Deadpool? Are you still watching, or yeah? Actually, no. I'm just gonna finish up this podcast and get that all done. But yeah, feel free to keep chatting and all that good stuff.
Late teenage guy I've ever known.
I sort of think that he and Forey Ackerman were like the original comic fans in a way.
To a certain extent, and there's my first meeting with Al Williamson. I will never discuss in public, but in private. But next time I see you in face, maybe in Baltimore, if I see you then, I'll tell you my first meeting with Williamson. It was hysterical, and funny, but I won't go in, not for public consumption.
So you're working on the next Hey Kids. I picked up the first volume here, which I will peruse. So
You're perusing, are you?
I'm perusing, and I noticed, like, I mean, you're using, uh, when you're using, the photographic, I guess you're sort of like photo bashing, right? Where you're taking the photos of existing locations, like you said, what you did in the Times Square, where you took the Macy's thing. Do you sort of feel like it's kind of like a sitcom in a way, where you go back, you can reestablish a shot and use it over again, and it adds a
Well, no, I mean, in the case of Hey Kids, I'm doing that very consciously because we have the same location which shows up. Our characters, I mean, the structure of the book, the first and last issues are four pages longer than the others because there's a cold open in issue 1 and a coda in 5. But the structure of the stories are 45, 55, 65, and 2001. And the locations are very specifically repeated to show that this saloon, which we first see in 1945, ends up becoming a cartoonist hangout and then a fern bar later on. Because it's all about New York, and it's all about the gentrification of the city around these people. And the memorials that all take place in the 2001 sequences, because all the 2001 sequences revolve around death, all take place at mostly the same place, the Ethical Culture Commission. One is at the Gay and Lesbian Center in New York City, which is a real place, the Ethical Culture Center. And but the saloons and the streets, I really wanted to sell the idea of repetition, because from issue to issue, the characters end up drinking in the same place, and they end up bitching in the same place, and that was sort of a very consistent choice made there.
Right. Because
I mean, like I said, when you read the book, you'll see what I'm talking about.
Right. I mean, I'm sort of I'm scanning as we go through. I also know another thing is the head size, and the head placement in the panels tends to be fairly consistent.
A very conscious choice.
Right, like when one of the things about when I learned to do storyboarding is you keep the eyes at a certain level so you don't get the ping pong of your head going up and down. Now, is that something that carried across from doing boards, or is that something you became aware of separately in doing comics?
That's more television than anything else.
Okay.
It really comes from working in TV. You know, particularly working on low budget action shows, which of course is oxymoronic. Working in action shows that have no budget, where you've really got to sell through stress and tension, and a lot of it comes out of understanding of the repetition of heads. And when I did Satellite Sam with Matt Fraction, I told Matt's story, but I didn't tell it in the pattern he arranged, because I didn't feel that his visual idea was as strong as mine. So I developed a sort of a narrative pattern of almost postage stamp size heads to enhance action in the larger panels. And that sort of carries over to a certain extent in Hey Kids.
Okay. Because that's something I've always noticed.
I mean, for example, that design system does not show up in Times Square.
Okay.
My feeling is the design system is directly related to the material you're depicting.
So if you were doing something that had, say, was more noirish or more action, you would not do the same.
But I'd use it in a different way. You know, I mean, I just read a piece about David Goodis, who's one of the great noir writers, and I realized that a lot of the techniques I'm using on Hey Kids, and on Satellite Sam would apply to directly to kind of a noir narrative, because noir narrative is all about wide space and then immediate tension. So you play with that idea.
So you're conscious.
I think these techniques lend themselves directly to a noir narrative.
Right. I mean, it's just something I really notice when I'm going through it. I see a lot of the the same space, the psychological aspect that it has of you sort of narrating the story, of having the people tell or narrate their part of the story?
Oh, it's a very conscious decision, no question. And again, when you read it, when you work the text with the visual, you'll see exactly where I'm going.
Right.
I have no doubt.
Right. Now, I mean,
I'm not sure. For example, whether this approach is going to work in the second volume, which has an entirely different narrative structure.
Right. Now, the other thing that's say different even from, especially like from your newsprint days, is the coloring.
Right.
And
I love computer color. I love saturated color. I know people hate it. I love it. I think it gives the material a really interesting volume, and I'm very excited by it. I think it's just swell.
And you're still using Ken Bruzenak to do the lettering, so is there...
The best.
Right. Okay. So you...
I mean, he is at least as big a pain in the ass as I am, and I am a raging pain in the ass, but he is the best at what he does. He is an unsung master in the work that he does. I love his work so much.
So you...
And I know how to get the best work out of him, too.
So do you do the balloon placement and everything, and you give it to him on an overlay?
No. He's taking it over and running with it, and I basically come back at him and say, this works, this doesn't. I'm not going to place balloons for Bruzenak. That's not going to happen.
Okay.
Never. I would never do that.
So he sends it to you, and then you can say...
Oh yeah. I gave him. He got. I've read the first 24 pages of Times Squared, and my notes are mild. My notes are mostly, you're too restrained. Where's that Bruzenak? Go kick some ass. Seriously. It's just like I said, you're being too gentle and polite. This is a noisy book. Go out there and be crazy. And I have no fear that it'll come back that way.
It's because I suppose it's easier to pull back than to push.
Exactly. So, hey, listen, I got to get back to work, so we got to wrap this up sooner rather than
Okay,
later.
well, no, we're coming up in about an hour and a half, but thank you very much. It's been...
Oh, no, thank you guys. Look, I'm willing to mistake attention for affection, so I'm good with this. So, and again, Mike, when I see you I'm assuming I'll see you in Baltimore, right?
Yes, you will.
Remind me, I'll tell you the Williamson story. You'll love it.
Okay, great. Well,
I do remember one thing Al said about your work. He said that he loved the fact that you drew the most vulgar women since Roy Crane.
Yes, I know, I remember that. The word he used was wanton.
Ah, okay.
It made my fucking day, let me tell you. It was beautiful.
Well, thanks a lot, Howard.
And again, and I might add also, both of you, once the Hey Kids Volume 2 develops, I may be very well be talking to one or both of you about a contribution. I'm being oblique for a very specific reason. We'll discuss. Okay,
great.
Yeah, I've been sitting here thinking about what you said, and there's so many. It's so interesting how so many different personalities approach what they do at all. Because I was thinking that for most of my working life, I did assignments just to give me time to work on my sketchbook and paint.
And we are clearly operating in entirely separate and divorced from each other universes.
Yeah, it's strange, It's really interesting.
I can dig it. And I love the assignmentness of it all. I do. So,
yeah, you adapt.
Even if I'm the assigner, So there you go.
All
right, gentlemen, it has been an absolute pleasure. Now I have to yell at my assistant, so say a prayer for his ass.
Okay.
And we'll talk soon.
All right.
Be well, guys.
All right.
Thanks.
Take care.
Bye.
Later. Bye.
Bye.
Okay, well, I guess that's it for this podcast. And so what are you going to just keep working, Brett?
I haven't stopped. I've been working the whole time we were talking. That's probably why I was a little distracted, but it's just that kind of a day.
Okay. Well, I guess until next time.
Brett and I would like to thank Howard once again for taking time out to talk to us today. On our discussion forum, you can find examples of the art that Howard was talking about, as well as links to Howard's work and other resources. Also, don't forget to suggest artists that you would like to hear us talk to on the podcast.
I would like to thank my brother Dave Manley for the sound editing help,
as well as Steve Connolly for all the other technical help putting this episode together. Okay, that's it. See you next time.
So there's actually been there's So here's actually a couple things that you could probably be interested in knowing about with Howard Chaykin. I mean, he's actually a very interesting artist to work with. Like a lot of his stuff has always been like. I mean, he is right about like he'll make me a better artist for him than myself. And so like I actually do use a lot of his stuff that he taught me over the time, and get myself better and better over time. And so I can't really say anything. I mean, I can't say anything bad about him in any way. I mean, because at the same time, he just like he's the guy who basically he pays my paychecks and also gives me a better understanding of how I can improve my art and everything else around me. So it's pretty interesting about I'm sorry, that whole layout and how to become a better artist yourself. So if anyone's ever interested in doing art, it is a challenge. I mean, I'm not going to tell you that everyone is gifted. Everyone is doing different things to get their name out there, not even actually showing off their artwork or doing anything that would grab people's attention. I mean, some people don't even just do art. Some people just don't do art in either way. It has always been a big challenge for everyone else to try to get their name out there and everything else. I mean, I'm already working on 6 other projects to at least maintain a career. I'm putting quote career in this whole area. But it is still a very challenging type area to really work on. So, where was I? Oh, yeah. In other words, comic books are a challenge. They always will be. They always can be. Only the really good people can do it. And you can still make money off this stuff, but there's always going to be other things that'll take that away from you too, like running into conventions and all that other stuff. And well, yeah. I mean, art is a very saturated it's a very saturated business. I love to be an artist, but I hate the fact that I do not get as much work or enough money to really cover my own costs and everything like that. By the way, if you like what you see, you can always donate to me a little bit, and just throw me whatever kind, just to show that you actually like what I do and all that stuff, and make me feel like I can gain support in that way too. Oh, did you tip? No, I never. I don't think I got it yet. Oh, cool. Thank you. If you oh, thank you very much. I really appreciate that. I mean, there's also that other one that's the blue one that you can actually see like a little like a rock out video and all that stuff. But hey, I really appreciate that. Thank you very much. But yeah, thank you for donating all that stuff. I appreciate that. And by the way, Deadpool, anything? What do you recommend for like for newly Twitch streamers to like get their stuff out there, or what do you recommend? I mean, you seen my stream for a little while. Just like maybe you could give me some of your pointers. Oh hey, we got a new buddy in here. How are you doing today? Hope everything's going well with you. I probably just like gave you a quick little invite and seeing what you want to check out. Um, and if you want to check out any of my other stuff, and or just want to ask me any questions, feel free to do so. And yeah, all that good jazz. Oh. Let me get some more coffee. I'll be right back. Yeah, maybe I. Yeah, maybe I could do that. Just like that's what we hear. That's what we hear about. Like that's the only way to get like people to view your stuff is to just it's just like make Twitch cards or business cards. Oops. Yeah, I think that looks about right. And let's see. I'm going to give the grass a little bit more motion and paint. No, wait a minute. Oh, that's right. Yeah, maybe. The only problem is I can't really bring in a lot of music because I am also connected to YouTube as well. And so, like, if I ever like play music, it has to be like YouTube legal, and it can be kind of boring sometimes. So I mean, I'm trying to figure out like you know, what can make a stream more entertaining if I could do something about it. Yeah, I guess so. Hmm. Let's see. You're right about that. Let's see. Maybe this will work.
Hi, Hyun here with League of Legends. Now you're gonna be saying wow every time you play this video game. Now look at this, I'm a blind monk.
I'm on my own, broken alone. I feel the rain crashing down all around this empty town. I'm searching for the lost and found, but you don't care. You're unaware. Keep moving like the scars aren't even there. It's in the air like a blazing flare. I'm scared 'cause the flames will burn us. I thought you were the one for me. That's why I gave you everything. Held you close by the stormy seas. Oh, you meant the world to me. I used to kiss your head when you cried for me. Hold your hand while the pain was over. did not know. Oh, I thought you were the one for me. That's why I give you everything. Held you close by the seas. You meant the world to me. You meant the world to me. Oh, I'm gonna do this on my own. No point in blaming you, you did not know. Oh, I'm gonna do this on my own. No point in blaming you, you did not know. Oh, I thought you were the one for me. That's why I give you everything. Held you close by the stormy seas. Oh, you meant the world to me. Gonna give you up. I'm never gonna let you go. Never gonna say goodbye. No. Never gonna give you up. I'm never gonna let you go. Never gonna say goodbye. No. Never gonna give you up. Never gonna give, never gonna give. Never gonna give, never gonna give, never gonna
Why do I feel like I linger? Linger between the words to say the words to remember. Now we're here to take control over your body, over your soul. We're gonna take back everything and lose it all. Lose it all. Lose it all. Feel it in your arms, feel it in your legs, feel it on your fingertips and feel it in your head. Just let your body go, just let your body go, just let your body go and move to the rhythm. No, we won't go back home today, until the very last hour. We still got few more days to slay, it's gonna get so much louder. Now we're here to take control over your body and over your soul. We're gonna take back everything and lose it all. Lose it all. Lose it all. Feel it in your arms, feel it in your legs, feel it on your fingertips and feel it in your head. Just let your body go, just let your body go, just let your body go and move to the rhythm. I wonder what went wrong today. Why do I feel like I linger? Linger between the words to say the words to remember. get to know someone like you, someone like you. I want you to know me, 'cause I know then you'll see we could be true, we could be true. I want you to see what I see in us, something so real, something so real. I want you to see that this is a love we both feel. And how will we ever know if the love will ever grow without trying, without trying? And how will we ever see if we are meant to be? It's terrifying, it's terrifying. That we're meant to be. We're meant to be. Time it's more than another love war. This ain't the same. This ain't the same. They say love heals all and makes it all alright. In time. My heart still feels the breaking, but you make my world so bright. You feel so right. You feel so right. And how will we ever feel that what we've got is real? There's no denying. There's no denying. And how will we ever see if we are meant to be? It's terrifying. It's terrifying. And how will we ever know if the love will ever grow without trying, without trying? And how will we ever see if we are meant to be? It's terrifying, it's that we're meant to be. We're meant to be.
Thanks, I appreciate that. Let's see. All right, it's been about roughly a few hours on this. I think I'm gonna call it a finish. I'm gonna look at it later and then just get myself ready for other show for like my cons and everything, and just get this ink ready for print. I hope everything. Hope you guys enjoy the show, and feel free to keep looking at my look at more of my stuff, and yeah, I'll see you guys later, and yeah, keep donating and following me, and tell your friends about me and all that stuff. All right, take care, guys.